I found this video today. I watched like 20 seconds of it, and I was just like, "Oh, this will be interesting." It was Captain Ancapistan, who is, you know, more status than he is ANCAP on Twitter. But he posted this, and I'd heard it mentioned somewhere else. Pardon me. Heard it mentioned somewhere else, and I saw the clip, and I was like, "Ooh, let's react to this." But for the record, like I haven't actually seen this. But apparently, this is AOC's a former climate activist. Reflects on the moment she realized climate activism was bullshit. I thought it might be fun and interesting, or it might be dumb. Who fucking knows? Let me speed it up though. Oops, that's the image quality. I believe there needs to be a goonocracy. Basically, whoever's goon to the most rules the land. Unfortunately, it'll probably be a trans person that's in charge because a lot of weird gooners are really into that shit. So maybe rethink that.
You slipping something at like a drunk wine night turn into you this complete breakup.
So the timeline is that I was at Now This from 2015 to 2021. And so I was there through the COVID stuff too. And I was visible. I was an on-camera person. The whole 17% reduction in our carbon emissions, the peak of COVID. Mm-hmm. So that's like the whole time I was there. So the whole world shut down at the peak of COVID. It was something like 17%. We saw a 17% reduction in our carbon emissions, the peak of COVID. Mm-hmm. So that's like just like those 2 weeks. Over the year, it ends up being something like 5% reduction. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, the climate movement wants 100% reduction in our carbon emissions. What is it going to expect of our society?
Yeah, we're like, literally locked in our homes, not doing anything.
And we still have carbon emissions. And so that was the first moment where I go, holy.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, like, there's still production. There's still Chinese factories are still running. You know what I mean? Like there's still like, but yeah, that is an interesting way of looking at it.
Hold on. I don't know if I want to live in a world where we have zero carbon emissions because I'm kind of depressed right now at home. This sucks and we have no freedoms. And so what does the climate movement, if you take it to its logical conclusion, it's not going to be no big deal. Like it's going to require people to give up their freedoms to like lower carbon emissions. And so that was one thing. And then the other thing was,
well, I mean, the thing that gets me more than anything isn't even that. It isn't even that. It isn't even the altruism. It isn't even the offshoring of like all of our climate problems in other countries. It's that like climate activists don't care about those other countries. No, dude. I look. Someone changes their mind. I think a lot of people woke up during COVID, man. I don't think that's that crazy. That like people, especially white women, right? White women are really, really easily indoctrinated by like college and media and social media algorithms. But I think COVID is like regardless of everything, I do think that it had a positive effect in some way, in that it was such a shock to so many people that it like was enough to force them to reevaluate everything that they thought about, especially because now they have the time stuck at home to think about shit as opposed to being distracted by the next thing.
And then the other thing was I was very anti-plastic, and all of a sudden like the PPEs everywhere, the masks, the plastic barriers between every table at a restaurant and when you're checking out your food at the grocery store. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've been sweating about a single-use plastic straw for the past 5 years, and now we've proliferated more plastic in the last few months than I've seen in my lifetime. And also looking around, we seem like we're fine. It looks like our society was able to absorb that plastic and the world has not ended. It's like we don't have time for nuance. We just have to push for the most extreme narrative because this is a fire alarm situation and the planet is going to be destroyed. So like we don't have time to think about the downsides of solar and wind. Like we have to just keep pushing forward because this is existential. And so I subscribe to that, where I'm like, this is an existential threat and we don't have time to like look at the details. Like, like we just have to get people to care.
Yeah, but it's just like they don't care about India or China. Like that's really all you need. Like you don't need COVID. You don't need to look at like what it would cause. You don't need to look at like just know that they don't give a fuck about the biggest polluters. So it obviously the biggest thing is not environmentalism. They don't even they actually celebrate when factories shut down in America or in the UK and get shipped over to China, when those factories produce less carbon as part of the production process than do the factories that the jobs move to. Thus, this is a net increase in carbon emissions. Like they celebrate increases in carbon emissions. And they also they celebrated getting nuclear facilities shut down in Germany. And now in Germany, you have old people that are freezing to death because they can't afford the heating and electricity. Oh, and by the way, environmental activists bombed a coal plant, and then the government responded by taking all of the Muslims and putting them in hotel rooms and leaving the old people to like die or fend for themselves. And that was like something to be celebrated, was more dirty energy that we can then get mad at so we can have more activism so that we can protect the Muslim migrants and fuck the white people. Like, environmentalism has nothing to do with the environment. It's just a mechanism of destabilization for leftist activism in the West that is full of self-hating people pushed by the worst people on the planet to divide and conquer and maintain a socialist system that benefits the wealthy, rich, and the elite via propagandizing white women. That's it.
And to be afraid. And because if they're afraid, they're going to change their habits. When I was in the climate movement, I got my identity
white dudes that want to fuck those white women.
From being a good person and from being on the right side of history. And so I identified with that. And so good people don't question the climate movement. You know, good people don't listen to fossil fuel shills or.
Also, I'll believe her when she gets rid of that like woke California lilt upspeak. Just like as a rule of thumb, I don't believe anybody that talks like this. And then I personally, anytime I hear that fucking tonality, I just immediately, like, every red flag in my brain just says this person is bad. Once you get rid of that shit, I will believe that you have been properly inculcated within some form of conservatism. But as of right now, you're just a fucking neo-lib, shit-lib woman that realized that the environmental part of your belief system was stupid.
Or defend fossil fuels. Good people don't question the climate narrative. And so this identity of being good, and I talked a little bit about this idea of atoning, right? Because everyone's obsessed with the white privilege and everything. And I'm realizing like, oh my gosh, I'm an oppressor by being a white woman and from America.
And then I realized that I'm an oppressor.
And so I need to atone for my sins by pushing and being part of this movement. And that is what makes me good. And so if I'm going to leave this, I'm no longer going to be seen as good, and I'm no longer a good person. So who am I? And then that's when you have to start doing the work of building up yourself.
That's when you have to start doing the work. Oh God, nothing is worse than white women in America with TikTok therapy talk. You have to start doing the work. She's not wrong, but just God, I hate how popular that shit is. It's so gross. That being said, I'm happy that you left one of your levels of retardation. But if you want to do the work, don't do the work on yourself. Just dig into this shit. Because there's a lot you missed.